Imagine boarding the RMS Titanic, the ship of dreams, and witnessing history unfold. But this time the tragedy never occurs. No iceberg, no sinking, no loss of over 1,500 lives. The Titanic sails on, completing its maiden voyage flawlessly. What would the world look like if this disaster never happened? How would technology, society, and culture have evolved differently? Prepare to explore an alternate history that reshapes the 20th century. The Titanic is one of the most famous maritime tragedies in history. Its story symbolizes human ambition, technological achievement, and the fragility of life. But what if the ship's maiden voyage had succeeded? If the Titanic had reached New York safely, it would not have become a cautionary tale of hubris and human error. Its survival might have accelerated advancements in maritime engineering, altered international maritime law, and influenced public perception of luxury and safety. In this what-if scenario, we imagine a world where the Titanic becomes a symbol of triumph instead of tragedy, exploring how one ship could ripple through history and change the course of nations, industries, and the human imagination. Had the Titanic completed its maiden voyage, the immediate impact would be staggering. The families of the passengers would celebrate survival, creating a wave of international joy. Newspapers would herald the triumph of engineering, praising the White Star Line for creating an unsinkable ship. Public faith in technological progress would soar, and the Titanic would inspire a generation to pursue grand projects with renewed confidence. Shipping and cruise industries would experience a boom. Investors would fund larger, faster, and more luxurious ships, confident that safety measures were reliable. The sense of human mastery over nature would grow stronger, possibly encouraging more daring exploration of remote regions by sea. Moreover, the Titanic's legacy would shift from cautionary tale to legendary achievement. The ship might have become the centerpiece of transatlantic travel for decades, setting new standards for comfort, luxury, and efficiency in maritime travel. The Titanic's survival could have influenced technological progress in shipbuilding. Its successful voyage would validate contemporary engineering approaches, possibly delaying some safety regulations that were introduced after the actual disaster. But the triumph might also spur innovation, as engineers strive to surpass the Titanic's achievements. Advanced safety features like watertight compartments, improved lifeboat systems, and reinforced hulls would become industry standards faster, driven by the desire to create ships even more remarkable than the Titanic. Cruise liners might evolve faster, introducing amenities and entertainment that define modern luxury travel decades earlier. International competition between shipping companies could intensify. Rival firms would attempt to outdo the Titanic, resulting in faster, larger, and more technologically sophisticated ships. The 20th century's maritime landscape could be dramatically different, with commercial travel at sea reaching unprecedented heights of luxury, safety, and speed. The Titanic had a profound cultural impact. In our alternate history, its survival would create new stories of heroism, exploration, and triumph. Celebrities, aristocrats, and innovators aboard the ship would inspire literature, film, and art with tales of adventure rather than tragedy. Society's perception of risk and safety might change. Without the tragedy, humans might develop a greater sense of invincibility regarding technology, perhaps accelerating other ambitious projects, including aviation, space exploration, and industrial expansion. Conversely, the absence of the Titanic disaster could mean fewer regulations governing maritime safety, creating risks in later decades that might manifest in other ways. The psychological and emotional imprint of the Titanic's survival would shape popular culture. The ship might become a symbol of human ingenuity, ambition, and resilience. Literature and cinema would focus on triumph and luxury rather than loss, creating a more optimistic collective memory of the early 20th century. The Titanic's continued success could influence global trade. A thriving transatlantic route would enhance commerce between Europe and North America, strengthening economic ties and facilitating international business. The White Star Line could dominate the shipping industry, influencing labor practices, wages, and trade policies. Politically, the survival of the Titanic might alter diplomatic relations. Nations might view maritime safety differently, influencing international treaties and agreements. The success of one ship could serve as a case study in international engineering collaboration, fostering cooperation among nations in other fields, including science, infrastructure, and global exploration. Insurance companies, investors, and financial markets would respond to the Titanic's triumph, encouraging more ambitious projects across industries. The ripple effects of one ship's success could accelerate economic globalization decades ahead of schedule, reshaping the world in ways few would anticipate. The Titanic would become an enduring symbol of human achievement rather than a reminder of hubris. Future generations would remember the ship not for tragedy, but for what humanity could accomplish with vision, courage, and engineering mastery. Its legacy would extend beyond maritime history. Lessons from the Titanic's survival might influence engineering, architecture, aviation, and even early space exploration. Confidence in human ingenuity could inspire bold projects that change the course of civilization, from skyscrapers to transatlantic flight routes to ambitious global ventures. Even today, the Titanic is remembered as a tragedy that reshaped safety standards and cultural memory. In a world where it survived, the story of triumph might inspire optimism, creativity, and ambition in ways we can only imagine. The Titanic's survival would change history in profound ways. It would inspire innovation, shift cultural narratives, and alter economic and political landscapes. From heroic tales to technological advancements, the world might be brighter, more ambitious, and more interconnected. Comment below. If the Titanic had survived, would it inspire you to dream bigger, or would it change the way we perceive risk and progress? Subscribe and explore our Earth and History Mysteries playlist for more alternate histories and mind-bending what-if scenarios.